Alrighty, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to this, the 28th iteration of the Konoha Companion. And this is Joshua. I'm your Konoha Companion, as always. And on this episode, we're going to be covering Season 1, Episode 27 of Naruto, entitled The CHUNIN Exams Phase Two, Forest of Death. And before we dive too far off into that, I want to run through what happened on the previous episode. I loved how on the previous episode it was basically like an orientation episode, and they like broke the fourth wall throughout the entire episode. It was basically like the members of Squad 7 presenting a review of everything that's happened at this point, while Kakashi went out and gathered the tape for the episode, right? And like I said, Kakashi heads off to retrieve the actual physical copy of the video for the episode. And we get to check out the new intro song, which was dope. Few big things kind of popped up in the intro. One of them was the guy with like the scary yellow eyes. You're going to want to keep an eye out for that moving forward. I love how they had Konohamaru and the gang sneak up on Naruto Metal Gear Solid style with the box again. I can't get enough of that, and I love how it was a callback to a previous episode. The Shrimpy Ninja Squad was there to conduct an interview and write an article for the Academy newspaper. Naruto giving his interview was really funny, how he like trumped himself up and talked Sasuke down, as you'd expect. We went through all kinds of neato experiences while the Konohamaru Ninja Squad interviewed Naruto, including Naruto and them pulling weeds at the farm, Sasuke saving Naruto on the river, Naruto walking the big dog that drags him into the minefield, Naruto using sexy jutsu on Lord Third, Shrimpy ambushing the Hokage in his office. They gave us a brief shot of the fourth Hokage versus the Nine Tails back in the day. They also showed us Naruto punching Konohamaru and Naruto and Iruka eating ramen. They interview Sakura for a while, who goes on about Sasuke, which you'd expect, and she also mentions Kakashi-sensei. Her flashbacks include her explaining jutsu from a scroll to us all. She talks about Naruto's sexy jutsu, the Shadow Clone Jutsu, the Harem Jutsu, Naruto pranking Kakashi on day one, Sasuke and Kakashi's bell fight, also Sasuke's Demon Wind Shuriken Windmill of Shadows from the Zabuza fight, showed Sasuke using his Sharingan during the Rock Lee fight. It also showed us the Demon Brothers fight during the start of Arc 1. Showed us Sakura doubting herself, not being able to keep up with Sasuke. Showed a bunch of stuff about Kakashi, his Sharingan, his 1,000 jutsus that he's copied. He's always reading his dumb book. It showed his secret finger jutsu, 1,000 Years of Death on Naruto, where he goosed him. The mystery of Kakashi's face, because he's always hiding it behind his mask. Kakashi using his summoning to bring out the dogs on Zabuza. His lightning blade. It also showed Kakashi being caught in Zabuza's water prison, and it also showed Haku casting the Crystal Ice Mirror's jutsu. They interview Sasuke, and Sasuke talks about how he's better than everyone, even though he just got taxed by Rock Lee, which Naruto was like really quick to point out. The flashbacks from the Sasuke interview include Naruto and Sasuke's standoff in the classroom on day one, Sasuke confronting Team Sand, Team Guy confronting Team 7, the Rock Lee fight, the main room of the CHUNIN exams, and intros of all the other Major Leaf Guinea. Basically, one big flashback orienting everyone for this arc. Sakura holds the team together as usual, and they unify to tackle the Forest of Death. And that's basically where the episode ends. This episode starts with a shot of the swing out in front of the academy. God bless that swing. It takes us a little ways back to Ibiki, who is, again, the head of the torture and interrogation corps for the Anbu Black Ops, and was also the proctor of the first part of the Chunin exam for Naruto and team. And Ibiki is telling the remaining members of the class who have just passed the first phase of the Chunin exams, nicely done. All of you showed a lot of determination in this exam. It wasn't an easy one, just one more thing. Congratulations on passing. It shows us everyone's faces, right? They're all shocked. Naruto lets out a confused, huh? Ibiki then continues, that's right, you've all passed. The first stage of the Chunin exam is done, and now I pray you succeed on the next part of the test. Naruto then screams, yeah, believe it, I passed, yeah, woohoo, believe it. You know, he's just super excited. Ibiki, looking on at Naruto, leaping up and down and exclaiming in ecstasy, thinks, he's an interesting one, all right. And this is again a callback, like they've shown Ibiki thinking he's a funny one, he's an interesting one, like clearly Naruto sticks out in Ibiki's mind. It then cuts to Ibiki picking up everyone's papers after the class, and he picks up Naruto's and with a small chuckle and a grin thinks, incredible. To think that someone would just pass in a completely blank test paper. Yes. That Naruto Uzumaki sure is an interesting kid. And like I said earlier, he's a funny one. Not an interesting one, but okay, sure. It then takes us to the Forest of Death, where a crow is perched on a limb when suddenly a snake snatches it up in one bite and slithers on its way. And like, man, obviously this place is like serious. Like the crows aren't even safe at all. It is then revealed that this scene transpired on the tree closest to the group of Genin taking the Chunin exam. In this moment, the title slide comes in and Naruto reads, The Chunin Exams Stage 2, The Forest of Death. It then takes us to Squad 7, where Naruto is looking out into the Forest of Death and Sakura says nervously, this whole place just completely creeps me out. Anko hears this and laughs and responds, it should. They call it the Forest of Death, and soon enough, you're going to find out why. Naruto at that point exhales sharply and pokes his butt out, and he puts his wrists on his hips and proceeds to mock Anko, going, they call it the Forest of Death, and soon enough, you're going to find out why. He then confidently points and remarks, do your worst. You're not going to scare me away. I can handle anything. And this fool has got some balls to be mocking the proctor. Because, I mean, I imagine that Anko is like a badass in quite the same way as Ibiki, right? And like he's just like in deep and doesn't even realize it. But Anko smiles and remarks, so looks like we've got ourselves a tough guy. She then throws a kunai, which goes right between Naruto and another Genin wearing a straw hat. Anko then moves lightning quick, appearing behind Naruto, and she then asks, tough enough to handle this? You're not afraid, are you? She then reaches around and touches Naruto's cheek, revealing in this moment that she grazed him with the kunai on his left cheek. Anko then teases with a huge smile, tough guys usually leave their blood all over this forest. She then goes to wipe the blood from his face, but something catches her attention, and she busts out a kunai when it's revealed that the Straw Hat Genin that the kunai also whizzed by has the kunai Anko threw earlier in his tongue, which is long and purple and has two ends, and he's got it like next to her face, and he says, or they say, as they lean over, I was just returning your knife. Anko smiles and responds, why thank you, Grass Ninja. So I guess this Straw Hat Genin is from the village hidden in the grass, or the village hidden by grass. Naruto is clearly freaked out by this whole transpirance, right? Anko and the grass ninja have an awkward little stare down, and Anko kind of breaks the awkwardness by saying, I really only recommend you stand this close behind me if you want to reach a premature end. Anko then takes the kunai and the grass ninja slurps their tongue back up all nasty style and responds, "My pardon, with the sight of blood and your blade slicing through the air, I'm afraid I got a little excited. I meant you no harm," and chuckles. What a fucking creep, bro. What a creepy ass character with the tongue and the slurping and the mm-hms. Yeah, man, I don't like the grass ninja at all. Anko responds likewise. Off to the side, Hinata nervously says Naruto as though to express concern for him in this circumstance. Sakura, watching all of this transpire, thinks, I thought the forest was creepy, but these guys are even creepier. Naruto leans around Anko and thinks, hey, I wonder if I could do that with my tongue. He then sticks his tongue out and wiggles it, but of course he's got like a normal person tongue. He can't do all that. Anko then says aloud, I don't know. It seems like everyone here today is quick-tempered. There must be something in the air, and lets out a little chuckle, and continues, this is going to be fun. Naruto frustratedly thinks, quick-tempered? Sheesh, you're the one who threw a kunai at me. Anko then steps forward and announces, now before we begin the test, I have something to hand out to you all. She then busts out a big stack of papers and continues, it's just a standard consent form. Before the test, all of you are going to have to read over this form and then sign it. Naruto questions, what for? And Anko lowers her head and responds, some of you may not come back from this test, and I have got to get your consent to that risk. Otherwise, it would be my responsibility. And lets out a big laugh, almost like a nervous laugh. This causes the Genin to murmur among themselves for a second uncomfortably. Anko then continues, now I'll explain what you'll be doing on this test. She then hands the stack of papers in the direction of Naruto and demands, here, pass these out. Naruto takes the papers and begins passing them out as Anko continues. The first thing you need to know is that the test will test every one of your survival skills. As Shikamaru receives the stack of consent forms, he thinks, survival, what a drag, and yawns real big as he passes the stack along. Anko then brandishes and lets unfurl a scroll containing a map, remarking, first, I'll give you all a description of the terrain on the practice field. The 44th Battle Training Zone has 44 locked entrance gates. There are rivers and a forest inside. In the center is a locked tower, located 10 kilometers from each gate. In this confined area that you'll undergo the survival test. The test consists of an anything-goes battle to get your hands on these. In this moment, she shows two scrolls, one primarily white, the other primarily blue. A student asks, both of them? To which Anko responds, yes. You'll be fighting to get both a Heaven Scroll and an Earth Scroll. Altogether, 26 teams will be taking part in the test. So half of those teams will be going after the Heaven Scroll, the white scroll, and the other half will be trying to get the Earth Scroll, the blue scroll. I'll hand over one kind of scroll to each team, and that's what you'll be vying for. Sasuke then asks, okay, so how do we pass the test? Anko responds, your entire squad must bring both the Heaven and Earth Scroll to the tower. Sakura then remarks, but that means at the very best, half of us will fail. More, if not every team, isn't able to get both scrolls. Anko responds, nobody ever said it would be easy. Oh, and one more thing. The test has a time limit. You must finish it within 5 days. Ino, clearly shocked, questions, 5 days out there? Choji adds, what are we supposed to do for food? And I love how Ino and Choji are both upset. Like, Ino doesn't want to be out in the woods for 5 days, and Choji doesn't want to be away from his food for 5 days. Like, you can see where both of their priorities are. Anko responds, "Just look around. The forest is full of things to eat, and there's plenty to feed all of you." Kabuto chimes in, "Yeah, but that's not all the forest has plenty of. There are man-eating beasts and poisonous plants in there." Choji disappointedly exclaims, "Oh man." Ino turns towards Choji and tells him, "Quiet down. This is why they call it survival test, you know?" Neji chimes in, "That means with these circumstances, there's no way half the teams will pass the test." Rock Lee then adds, with the days getting longer and the nights getting shorter, we have less time to sleep and less time to recover. It's a challenge indeed." He then smiles and his teeth gleam in like traditional Rock Lee fashion. Sasuke then says, "Completely surrounded by enemies, there won't be time to rest. We'll have to keep constant watch." Anko confirms this, saying, "Right." She then continues, "The test also measures endurance behind enemy lines. This is designed to be a grueling test, and I'm sure some of you won't be up to the challenge." Shikamaru then raises his hand and asks, "So, let's say mid-exam, can we quit?" Anko responds, "Of course not. In the middle of a battle, you can't say, 'Sorry, I quit.' Well, I guess you could, but it's probably going to get you killed." Shikamaru crosses his arms and says, "Oh, just great. This is going to be a drag." And so the entirety of that team is not feeling this, right? Choji wants his food, Ino wants the comfortability of home, and Shikamaru wants no part of it at all. Anko then continues, "There are also some ways you can get disqualified. The first is simple. If all 3 members of a team can't make it to the tower with both scrolls after 5 days. Number 2, if a team loses a member or if a member becomes incapacitated and cannot continue. But most important, none of you, absolutely none of you, may look at the contents of the scrolls until you've reached the tower." Naruto asks, "What if it just happens to flap open and you read it?" And Anko answers by saying, "Let me put it to you this way, young man. You don't want to know." Naruto lets out a frustrated groan, and Anko continues, "There are times when a ninja will be asked to carry secret documents. The scroll rule is to test your integrity. Okay, we're done here. Each team take your consent forms and exchange them over there for your scrolls." Anko points to a stand where some proctors or associates, some jonin or chunin, some ninja who are helping with the exam, are stationed ready to take papers and hand out scrolls. Anko continues, "After that, each team pick a gate and you'll be let inside. Oh, and I have one more word of advice. Just don't die." The Genin all separate into their teams and review the waiver. Sasuke sits by a boulder and observes how the jonin at the scroll and waiver station are drawing a curtain when handing out scrolls. He thinks to himself, "I see how it is. We won't know which team has which scroll, and we won't know which of the team members is carrying the scroll. Stealing information is really a matter of life and death." He then takes a closer look at the document and thinks, "It's just like Ibiki said. Everyone is equally determined to pass, and all of them are my enemies." Anko looks over the scene and thinks, it looks like they're starting to understand what's really involved in this test. Sakura is walking along reading the waiver when Ino calls out, well, if it isn't the little future failure. What's up, billboard brow? I thought you would have washed out of the program by now. Your big forehead alone should have gotten you tossed." Sakura responds, "So sad, you're jealous that I'm spending 5 days with Sasuke, and it's clearly turning you into someone very petty and ugly, and you were already ugly," and lets out like a big evil laugh. They have a stare down and exchange numerous insults as Choji and Shikamaru watch on in horror. Ino finally yells, "Enough, give it up, Sakura. You and I both know you're too weak to pass this test." Sakura demands, "Yeah, right, you're the one who's going down." Their stare down intensifies until they finally turn and go their separate ways. At this point, Choji turns to Shikamaru and says, "I'm glad they didn't turn on us. Why are they like that to each other?" Shikamaru responds, "Who cares? Like I have time to worry about that stuff." At this point, it takes us to Naruto, who's walking along reading the waiver when he happens across Hinata. When he sees her, he calls out, "What are you doing all the way out here?" Hinata realizes it's Naruto and gasps, then remarks, "Oh, Naruto, just nothing." And Naruto thinks, "That's Hinata, weird as always." Hinata turns and sees Naruto is cut on his face and goes, Oh, you're cut. Here, I have this." As she is digging for it, Naruto goes, "Well, anyways, see you later." She pulls it out and tries to hand it to him, but Naruto's already walked past her, and she thinks, I guess I'll just keep it for later then." And Naruto's so damn oblivious to this girl being head over heels in love with him, it's unreal. And she's so anxious about the whole situation that she can't get it communicated clearly. So these guys are fumbling pretty bad. Fumbled snap. At this point, it takes us back to the main area where everything has been going down, and one of the Jonin pokes his head out from behind the curtain at the scroll and station stand and says, "All right, everyone, we're going to start handing out scrolls." Teams begin to line up for scrolls, and Anko, watching over the scene, thinks, "I wonder if any of them will survive this." And that should be an indication as to how dangerous of a situation that we're going into right now. Anko's literally like wondering if anyone is going to survive. The clock strikes 2 p.m. and Anko announces, "Listen up. The teams have received their scrolls, so everybody go to your gate and wait there. When the gate opens, the test is on." It takes us to gate 16, where Team 8, consisting of Hinata, Shino, and Kiba, are waiting with a Jonin. Kiba exclaims, "Yahoo, we rocket survival. There's no way we can lose. Hinata, you'd better be strong for this." To which Hinata responds, "Right." It then takes us to gate 27, where Team 10 is waiting in similar fashion. Shikamaru is complaining, "The test might cost us our lives. What a drag. But since we have to do it, let's just go after Naruto first." I love how everybody thinks that Naruto is the weak one and they're going to go after him. They ain't seen this dude in action. Man's got the nine tail inside of him. That's the wrong one to try and bully. As he is saying this, Choji is checking inventory on his backpack. Burrito? Check. Potato chips? Check. Strawberry layered cake? Yeah. It then takes us to gate 12, where our Team 7 is, and Naruto exclaims, "Believe it." And as he is like shadow boxing the air, he exclaims, "I dare you, bring it on, ninja. I'll just send it back twice as hard," and like delivers like a big forceful uppercut. Sakura remains calm on the outside, but is gassed up on the inside, exclaiming internally, "Cha, that's right." It then takes us to gate 20, where Team Sound, headed up by Dosu, are standing and waiting. Dosu is giving a pep talk to his teammates, saying, "The time has come to carry out our orders in the open." And so this kind of indicates that they have some type of ulterior motives beyond simply participating in the CHUNIN exams. The Team Sound is somebody to really keep an eye on. It then takes us to gate 38, where Kabuto and his two masked teammates are. It then takes us to gate 6, where Team Sand is, where Kankuro is thinking, "Not only do I have to deal with the punks on the other teams, I'll be with Gaara, and he might try to kill me." And like Tamari's kind of in the background, looking generally concerned as well. So it seems like, Tamari and Kankuro are both like fearful of Gaara. It then takes us to gate 15, where the creepy grass ninja are, and one of them exclaims, "We'll target the rookies, they're the easy prey." The one with the creepy tongue adds, "We'll get their scroll from them in no time, anything goes, right?" Yeah, man, they're so creepy. I don't like the grass ninja. It then takes us to gate 41, where Team Guy and Rock Lee has fire in his eyes, and he's thinking, "Guy Sensei, I will make you proud. Just watch. Soon everyone will know the name Rock Lee." The clock then strikes 2:30, and Anko calls out, "All right, listen up, you maggots. The second part of the test has begun." The gates open, and the teams come rushing in. The grass ninja run in formation, and the one with the creepy tongue calls out to the others, "You know who we're looking for," and the others respond, "Yeah, those three brats." It takes us immediately to Team 7, who walks into the Forest of Death, and presumably these grass ninja are now targeting Naruto as well, right? So you've got the grass ninja targeting Naruto, you've got the sound ninja with ulterior motives, you've got Shikamaru and his team now intending on targeting Naruto, so Naruto got some people gunning for him. But as he steps into the Forest of Death, he confidently announces, "Ha, we're all right. Well, here you go, guys." And it takes us to Team 8, who is convening in the forest for a moment, where Kiba says to the team, "Okay, first thing we've got to do is find it. Are you ready, Hinata?" To which Hinata responds, "Mm-hmm." She casts the appropriate hand signs and calls out Byakugan, casting her Byakugan. And it takes us to Team Guy, who are running through the tree limbs, where Neji calls out, "Take it easy, Lee. The test has only just begun." Lee responds to this by saying, "That may be, but still, whoever our enemies are, I want to find them before they find us." And Neji kind of laughs and responds, "You hot-blooded fool." It then takes us to Team Sound running through the tree limbs, where Dosu says, "We only have one target, stay focused on it." Next we see Shikamaru and Ino sneaking through the woods, where Ino spots something and exclaims, "Are you kidding? What are you doing?" It's then revealed that Choji is sitting on the ground Indian style and has cracked open a bag of chips. And he responds, "I'm just having a snack. I mean, I've got to keep my strength, don't I?" And he starts munching. Ino pleads, "We haven't even been out here 5 minutes. Shikamaru backs up Ino and says, "Yeah, now come on, Choji, we've got a job to do here." Choji literally turns his back on them too and maintains, "I can't help it. I've got to eat. They're my favorite flavor." Ino responds, "You and your snacks. This is a survival test, you know. You should have packed more kunai and less candy." In this moment, Shikamaru hears something and demands, "You guys, quick, hide." And they leap into a nearby bush when suddenly some ninja from the village hidden by a waterfall come by and stop for a second. Shikamaru, watching from the bushes, notices a chip under the feet of the ninja and thinks, "Oh no." Right, they're gonna be cued off to their presence by this chip being on the ground. The ninja ultimately continue on, and Ino lets out a big sigh of relief. Shikamaru then thinks, "Oh man, I've got to deal with 5 more days of this." Suddenly we see a team of hidden rain ninja happening across Team 8, so they listen in on them. And it's revealed that Kiba is saying, "So if the tower is where everyone's going to head in the end, I say we lay a trap near it and just take a scroll off whoever we catch." Suddenly, Akamaru starts sniffing and growling. This cues Kiba off to the proximity of the incoming ninja, and he lets the team know by saying, well, we've got company." One of the hidden rain ninja remarks, "Ha, bunch of fools, just standing out in the open like they want to get caught." One of the others responds, "Well, it seems that they've sensed our presence, but they're all such lame ninja that they can't even pinpoint our location." Suddenly, the first ninja lets out a grunt, and his face begins to turn purple and his back begins to bulge, and his teammates ask, "What's going on? What's in your shirt?" And it it's like pulsing and surging, and his shirt comes down enough for his teammates to see that there's like this large, massive, fleshy brown thing on his back. And one of them screams, "What is that thing?" Suddenly, tons of these things come raining down from the tops of the trees, and they let out screams off in the distance, and Kiba says, "Well, looks like the leeches found them. They sensed body temperature and perspiration, and then in a group they swoop down in on their prey. If they suck your blood for 5 minutes, it's all over. Those predators are smart. We've taken advantage of their instincts to trap our enemies." And they should have known, man. I mean, wasn't the first thing that Kakashi taught Naruto is that you don't take the bait, especially if the bait is obvious? You got to see through deception. I mean, whenever you're having to remark to yourselves, "Man, they suck so bad, it's like they want to get caught." That should have been like the cue, bruh. You should have been like, they want to get caught. But hey, they're caught in this trap at this point because they didn't see through the deception, and that's on them. One of the rain guineas stands up and yells, "Hey, get off me!" And in so doing this, he springs a tripwire, and his entire team gets caught up in a net that swoops him up. Kiba's gaze narrows and he remarks, "That's one team down." Their screaming continues and it echoes through the forest, and Anko hears this from the main entrance and it gives her a smile. She remarks aloud, "Sounds like the fun has begun." This screaming also catches the attention of Team 7. Sakura remarks, "That sounded like someone screaming. I don't like this place." Naruto puts his hands on his head and goes, "Oh, come on, it's nothing to be scared of. It's gonna be a piece of cake." Naruto suddenly stops and says, "Excuse me a second, I've really gotta, and he turns to take a piss. And Sakura knocks him on the head and yells, "Yeah, right, get out of here. What is this, the kennel? Not in front of me, you don't. Go find a bush or something." Naruto wanders off to take his piss, and then he comes back a few seconds later and remarks, "Oh man, that was fun. I wrote my whole name." Sakura exclaims, "You're such a pig. You really are disgusting sometimes. You know that?" As she is saying this, Sasuke's gaze narrows in on Naruto. He then, suddenly out of nowhere, kicks the shit out of Naruto and sends him flying into a tree. Sakura asks, "Sasuke, it wasn't that bad. Don't you think you're going a little overboard?" Naruto adds, "Yeah, what the heck is that all about?" When suddenly Sasuke attacks again and Naruto has to roll out of the way. Sasuke continues to try and attack Naruto, ultimately causing Naruto to fall to the ground. Naruto stands up and says, "You better watch out, Sakura. I think he's gone crazy." Sasuke remarks, "Yeah, you wish. I just struck before you could." Sasuke then pulls out a kunai and leaps forward. And as he does so, Sakura yells, "Sasuke, no!" Naruto sees this and demands, "All right, then bring it on." They fight it out, clashing kunai several times. Sasuke almost lands an attack, forcing Naruto to dodge way out of the way. When they break for a second, Sakura asks, "Sasuke, what are you doing?" Sakura says, "Take a good look at him." He then continues, "Talk. What have you done with Naruto?" Sakura and Naruto both gasp, and Naruto pleads, "What? What do you mean? I am Naruto." To which Sasuke responds, "Then where's the cut on your cheek?" Naruto gasps, and Sasuke continues, "I guess you didn't know that the real Naruto got a cut on his face before the test. You also have your shuriken holster on your left leg, not your right. But the real Naruto is right-handed. Your transformation skills are worse than Naruto's. Tell me who you are." Naruto then disappears in a plume of smoke, and when the smoke clears, it's revealed that a hidden rain ninja with a mask and a respirator on has taken Naruto's place, who admits, "All right, you got me. So what? I'm still going to take your scroll. Now hand it over or else." Neither Sakura or Sasuke give an inch, and he continues, "So which one of you has it?" Neither says a word, so he continues, "Fine then. I guess I'll just have to take you both out." And he comes charging forward, and the episode ends. And a lot of stuff happened in this episode, man. It was a fun episode. We've got a fight lined up. Naruto's a wild one for mocking Anko the way he did in front of everybody. Dude, man. But him doing that is what got him the cut on his face, and that's what allowed Sasuke to see through the deception of the ninja later. So it all worked out. Anko scared the heck out of Naruto by throwing a kunai that, like I said, grazed his face, and that ultimately teed everybody off later. That grass ninja with the tongue gives everybody the creeps. You're supposed to be creeped out. If you felt creeped out, you felt correctly. Anko makes everyone sign a waiver because everyone might not come back, and she ain't trying to have that liability. That's crazy, right? Like, people really might not come back from this test. She explained that the basis of the exam is that each team gets either a white heaven scroll or a blue earth scroll, and they all start from like a unique entry gate in order to pass the entire test, and they have 5 days to do it, so it's basically a big survivability test. To review, you can get disqualified if all 3 members of a team can't make it to the tower with both scrolls within 5 days, if a team member is lost or incapacitated, and looking at the contents of the scroll before reaching the tower are the ways that you can get disqualified moving forward. So keep that in mind. Team 7 got a heaven scroll, so keep that in mind. They're going to have to go find an earth scroll. It looks like Team Sound has some motives beyond simple participation in the exams, so that's something to keep an eye on. It seems like the grass ninjas have a motive outside of simple participation in the exam, so that's something to keep an eye on. It's also funny how now, like, probably at least 3 teams are gunning for Naruto and his team because they feel like they're the easiest ones to go after. It's neat to see how each team has gotten into and handled each of their first interactions differently. Love how Kiba's a trapper, right? Super great how they tricked and trapped those hidden rain Genin. Shikamaru's so lazy that he just straight up hid and avoided the altercation in its entirety. I think it's funny how Naruto, being a dork, needing to go pee so quickly, got him and Squad 7 into shit. Naruto must have gotten ambushed by all 3 members of that team, which, speaking of, they're all teams of 3. So I wonder where the other 2 members of that Hidden Rain ninja team that are fighting Squad 7 are going to reveal themselves. Definitely good on Sasuke for finding out that imposter a ninja needs to see through deception, and he did so more effectively than me, right? Like, whenever I saw Naruto on screen, it didn't occur to me that it was an imposter. It's going to be fun to see how this fight pans out. Wouldn't it be silly, though, if these guys went through a big fight and it turns out that they both had the same scroll? Like, don't you feel like everybody should maybe be like, hey, like, what type of scroll do you have, before we, like, waste a bunch of chakra and a bunch of energy and, like, hurt each other over, like, having 2 of the same scroll that will do nothing for either of us, right? But, hey, I'm not a ninja. I'm just remarking on the whole situation. But with that, I feel like I can pretty effectively put a bow on this episode, guys. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments. You guys, thank you all so much for listening. Like, comment, share, participate, right? Let's build a community. Let's be friendly, right? The whole point is to be friends and find like-minded individuals. And guys, I really appreciate everybody for listening again so much. I'm really looking forward to going over the next episode with you guys. And thanks so much. Have a good one.